Hey house guests, welcome to today's Celebrity Big Brother updates and spoilers. Here are our lovely house guests of the day who we could not do this without. Thank you so much for your support. As always, you guys are awesome. We have so much amazingness to talk about. This season is really delivering in this first week here, I gotta tell you. Okay, so last night, first eviction of the season and the first blindside. Chuck was evicted by a vote of 7-1, and we know that Omarosa was the only lonely vote for James. Remember when James was all like, you might find yourself on the wrong side of the vote? Okay, so the feeds came back last night after the eviction show, and Keisha, Omarosa, and Metta were all in the gym together, and Keisha's like, I knew something was up. Something was fishy. I knew it. So Omarosa's like, you know what? I appreciate the good TV. You know, as somebody who loves reality TV like this, I get it. However, Metta, how did you freaking get pulled over to the other side? And he's just like, what are you talking about? I voted for Chuck to stay. Now, we know, and Omarosa knows, that she was the only vote to evict James. However, Metta does not freaking realize that he voted to evict Chuck. He hears the vote 7-1 and he's like, oh, okay, I was the only one. Oh! So, holy crap, he's like, I went in there and I said, I vote for Chuck to stay or whatever, which is not what he said. If you remember, he went in there and was like, wishing his wife a happy Valentine's Day before they even turned his audio on, and then the audio comes on and he's like, I vote Chuck. And then he freaking leaves before he even talks to Julie. Yeah, he said, I vote Chuck. He voted to evict Chuck. So, Hamster Watch freaking nailed it. She was all, Topaz World Peace. Yes! Big Brother Canada, Topaz Season 1. Hamster Watch, we love you. Alright, so he doesn't even realize that he voted to evict Chuck, and Omarosa and Keisha say in unison, like, you voted to evict Chuck! Yeah. So anyway, meanwhile, Shannon and the girls, the other girls, are like, wow, it's really cool that Metta voted with us, and they think that Mark, like, clued him in so he'd be in on the vote. Nope! He just did not understand how the voting worked. So back to the gym real quick. Keisha and Omarosa tell Metta, alright, you screwed up. I don't even know if they actually believe that he screwed up or they think that he's with the other side, but they're telling him, do not trust the others. You need to stick with us. And Metta's like, okay, let's go get that HOH. Alright, so then Metta and Ross were chatting in the landmark bedroom, and I swear, you cannot make this shit up. This is one of the most bizarre conversations I have ever heard in all seasons of Big Brother. It was crazy. Okay, so Metta was like, I have no idea what just happened. No kidding! Alright, so Ross is telling him, you know what, I want to help you get what you want. Meaning, I know you want to go home and see your wife. Let's try to make that happen. He's saying, we can get you home in the next few evictions. I guess he doesn't just want to self-evict because then he won't get whatever money he's supposed to get paid for being there. So Metta is like, alright, but I'm going for that HOH. So Ross is like, but if you win HOH, you can't send yourself home. And Metta's like, I know. I'm going to send someone else home because it's very disrespectful. Meaning, like, it's disrespectful that they did not send him home and, like, go with his wishes to go home. I feel like I'm living in the Twilight Zone, and that I took crazy pills this morning, and that, like, I'm having some sort of, like, fever dream. I don't know, but it's just so bizarre. So Metta's like, yeah, I'm going to win the HOH, and I'm going to put up Shannon and James. And he's saying, if I don't get a commitment that I'm going to be up on the block this time, I'm freaking gunning for that HOH. What a weirdo. Have you ever heard anybody threaten to try for the HOH unless they get confirmation that they are the target? What? So Ross is like, all right, just give us like one more eviction and then we'll get you out. He's saying we've got this huge target on us right now because of what we've done, and we need to take somebody else out, and then we'll get you out. So he's like, I want either Keisha or Omarosa out, then we can get rid of you, and then we'll get rid of whoever's left out of Keisha and Omarosa. And Metta's like, no, I can't accept that deal because I do not have a problem with Keisha or Omarosa, so I don't want to see them go. He says it would be a personal victory for him to get rid of either Shannon or James. He doesn't want them to win. So Ross is like, well, you can make sure they don't win by voting for me in the end. Oh my god. Did Ross ever work in PR? Because he's like spinning that shit. So Metta's like, oh, you definitely have my vote if you make it to the end. So he's like, all right, I will think about your deal and we'll see what happens. So Ross tells him, all right, but whatever you do, don't trust Keisha and Omarosa. Who would have thought that Metta would be stuck in the middle right now of these two sides? I mean, is it really two sides though? It's pretty much everybody versus Keisha and Omarosa with Metta in the middle, right? Metta in the middle. Okay, so then Brandy, Ari, and Ross were in the green room, and Brandy reports an incident that we did not get to see. So she tells them about this snarky comment from Omarosa. Apparently, Brandy was saying, like, I'm gonna go lay down or whatever, and Omarosa was like, you should be happy. You won. You and your white girl alliance. What? A white girl alliance? So Brandy's like, she's making it a race thing when it's not, and it's not even a white girl alliance. Like, they're not all white. But okay. So I'm just gonna like weigh in here real quick. I don't think it's a race thing. I don't think it looks good though that the 3 black people were left out of this vote last week. I mean, really, like when you look at it, it's like, ooh, that's uncomfortable. But I don't think it was like a race thing. It doesn't help that Omarosa and Keisha kind of like, you know, spent all their time with each other and not anybody else in the group. I mean, they kind of isolated themselves. And Metta's like in his own world. I don't know. But I will admit, it does not look good. But I don't think it was a race thing. So anyway, here we go. There's all this tension in the house. Shannon and Omarosa are in the kitchen with a bunch of other people there too. Who cares about them? Shannon is like, I want to explain to you what happened. Like, can we do that? She means like as a group. And Omarosa's like, yeah, you can do that later, but right now, I want to talk to you one-on-one. You know, I want to talk to you first, and you know what it's about. Remember on The Bachelor that time with, what was that girl's name? Like Kelsey or something? When she's like, I know what you did. So anyway, they agree to have this conversation. So they move their convo to the green bedroom. And Omarosa's like, all right, Shannon, you came in here and you told me that you want to like bring your career back or whatever. Like, this is your big comeback, and you said that you didn't want to come in here and be the evil mean girl. Well, ... So then Shannon explains, like, I felt really weird about the veto situation when you guys were trying to push me to use it on Chuck, and like, I wasn't going to get anything out of that. And you were like, maybe making a deal with him. Like, what was that all about? So then Omarosa's like, well, did you have a deal with Mark? Like, why were you defending him? Because Mark would have been the replacement nominee for Chuck. And Shannon's like, no, let's go back to the veto thing. So they talk about that again. And then Shannon's saying that Keisha kept tipping her hand. She kept defending Chuck. So then the rest of the group thought that Keisha went behind everybody's backs and made a deal with Chuck. And Omarosa's like, we never cut a deal. So there's just more accusations about Shannon supposedly making a deal with Mark and Keisha supposedly making a deal with Chuck. I don't think either of them actually made like solid deals with either of the guys. I'm not totally sure because, you know, most of the week was not on the feed, so who knows what actually happened, but from what I saw, there weren't like solid deals. But that was just going back and forth. And then Shannon is explaining to Omarosa, like, this was not something that we've been lying about all week. You know, we were still on board with the plan until the night before the vote. And then suspicions started adding up. We saw Keisha defend Chuck 3 times. It was a real Jesus being denied their, you know, like, what? And then Brandy saw Omarosa talking to Chuck, so that was like the final nail in the coffin, and they were like, you know, we're gonna flip the script. So then Omarosa kind of changes gears in the conversation, and she's like, the whole group was disrespectful of Keisha's HOH. Like, everybody acted differently towards you when you were briefly the HOH. What's that all about? And then she tells Shannon, you're gonna come across as the scheming, conniving, mean girl bitch. And she kept saying it over and over again. So then, a few minutes later, Keisha joins them, and Shannon's all, we thought you had to deal with Chuck. And Keisha's like, well, we thought you had to deal with Mark. So Keisha's like, you have to deal with everyone, and nothing you say right now is going to convince me otherwise. Ladies. So there was more back and forth about deals or not deals with Chuck and Mark. And then eventually Keisha leaves. It's back to just Omarosa and Shannon. And this is where it gets pretty ugly, because Omarosa's like, you didn't want the two brown girls working together. The brown girls working together when the 5 of you have been the ones scheming. Yeah, so Shannon's like, it has nothing to do with that. So they, you know, go back and forth about that for a minute, and then Omarosa's like, girl, bye. You can get out of my room now. Get out. Bye-bye. And then Shannon left. It was really awkward. Ugh. Again, like, I don't think it was a race thing, but at the same time, I can understand how Omarosa and Keisha would feel like it is, because I'm sure they've experienced that many times in their lives. And, like, unless you experience that yourself, you wouldn't understand it. So, like, I get where they're coming from. But again, outside perspective, I don't think it's a race thing. So, a little while later, the feeds go down for the HOH competition, and they did not come back until after 3 a.m. I'm pretty sure the comp was done for like a while too, because Ross had already got Ross won the HOH. He had already gotten his HOH room, he got his letter and everything, and we didn't get to see it. And it usually takes a while after the competition's over for them to get the room, so what's that all about? It was the bowling one, you know, when you have to like spin around and then knock down the pins. Like, I guess they call it Bowl Arena. And, yeah, Ross won, like I said. So, more importantly, Omarosa is in the hospital. What? Marissa was all like, oh, I put Omarosa in the hospital. What does that mean? Like, did she hurt her? I think it meant like Marissa was up against Omarosa, you know, because they do a head-to-head. And I think she got hurt during that round. I don't think Marissa, like, hit her with a ball or anything. Like, I don't know. There was some talk of maybe, like, asthma. I don't know what happened exactly, but she's in the hospital, and the house guests weren't sure if she's coming back or not. So, today, let's talk a little bit of game here. It seems like Ross is set on nominating Omarosa and Keisha. That's what he was saying late last night before everybody went to sleep, because he was sharing the HOH bed with Marissa. That's what they were talking about. And I guess, like, Metta would go up if Omarosa doesn't come back. I don't know. There wasn't much game talk happening until later in the afternoon today. I guess it was just assumed that Ross would be nominating Omarosa and Keisha, and everybody's just, like, wondering, is Omarosa even coming back? Like, what's the deal? She's been gone for a long time. Is that even allowed? Metta's, like, left the house and come back, apparently, like, twice. So, anyway, Keisha and Metta were killing time today in the speakeasy. She doesn't really want to hang out with most of the other house guests, and Metta just wants to go home, and he's been talking about it a lot. Oh my god, like, we get it. If you want to go, just freaking go. But also stay, because you're, like, unintentionally hilarious. Okay, here's something really interesting. Remember how yesterday, just yesterday, Ross, Marissa, Shannon, and James made a Final Four deal? Well, today, Ross was talking to Marissa, Brandy, and Ari, and he told them, you guys are my real Final Four. And he said, James and Shannon think that I'm with them, and I'm going to have to keep playing it like I am, but I'm with you guys, so just know that. I knew it. There was no way that Ross was going to ditch Ari and Brandy to work with James and Shannon, who are much bigger threats. He would have such an easier ride to the final two with that group than with James and Shannon. Duh. So anyway, yeah, that's wild, right? Omarosa is still not back yet as of whatever time it is right now. I don't know. What time is it? Like 3 something in Big Brother time? She's not back yet. Isn't that crazy? So Ross, things are getting a little wild because like everybody's freaking out. They're like, whoa, maybe she's not coming back. She's been gone for a really long time. So Ross is kind of coming up with a plan for just in case Omarosa doesn't come back. He's like, well, if we split up Omarosa and Keisha, like we don't have to get rid of the other one immediately. So he's like, maybe we put up Keisha and Metta, and then then use the veto on Metta, backdoor Shannon, and just get rid of her. What? Oh shit. Would he really do that? Ari and Brandy are really pushing for it because of course they're not the HOH anyway, so like what do they care if Ross does that? They don't have to do it, and it's like really good for their games. Is he really gonna do that though? Like I said, they're really pushing for it, but he's kind of like, oh, I don't know. We just made a huge move, and is it too soon to do another one? This game is only like 2.5 or 3 weeks long or whatever, so just freaking make some moves here. That's wild. I forgot what I was gonna say. It is really hard to watch Big Brother and the Olympics at the same time. Okay, I don't know if Omarosa's coming back or what. The house guests are on an HOH lockdown right now. They're all just like sitting there quietly like, so I don't know what's going on downstairs. Are they like packing up Omarosa's stuff? Like what's going on? I don't know. When are nominations? Because the eviction is on Monday, and I think they said they're doing the veto competition live on Monday. So I mean they still have tomorrow if they don't do nominations today, but I don't know. It should be interesting though. A lot is going to depend on whether or not Omarosa comes back into the game. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. It's a wild ride. And until tomorrow, much love.